Sometimes the court gets crazy on paternity court.
It don't make no sense that I had to go through all of this just to prove that. How is that my fault? No, and you know how I feel about that, and I'm talking to you.
Are not Nyla's father.
Woo! I'm sorry.
I want to be her dad. I want to be.
You can still be her father.
I want to be so bad.
You can still be her father.
Miss Brooks has brought Mr. Page to court because she wants him to accept their 8-month-old son. She says she came out of a very long relationship and fell in love with Mr. Page, after which they decided to have a child together. However, Mr. Page is now denying the child and says her best friend must be the father.
Every time I come home from work, she out with Mr. Wilson. So I don't know what she's doing at work. When I'm at work, she calls me, but when I'm getting off, she'll don't pick up, don't nothing. I call everybody that she hangs around with, they won't pick up. So to me, I think she tells them not to pick up the phone when everything's going on. When I come home, he might have my child holding him, whatever, I don't know.
Miss Brooks says the pair doesn't even have a relationship anymore because all they do is fight and argue. Mr. Page says it's all because of her and her suspicious actions. But then Miss Brooks reveals one of the darkest secrets of the episode and turns the tables on her baby daddy. So, what can the secret be?
You're the one that disappears every day. You're the one with the gambling
Going to work
problem.
isn't disappearing.
He goes to work every day, yes he does. And when he gets paid, the next day, he is broke. He goes to the casino and spends all his money and may bring $30 inside of the home and then expect me to take care of him for the 2 weeks.
Turns out Mr. Page has a gambling problem. Miss Brooks says he starts going to the casino as soon as he gets paid and goes broke in a day. After that, she needs to pick up the slack. Judge Lauren asks Miss Brooks if her best friend is also her last ex, and what she says next changes everything.
When I first was pregnant, he did everything. He was there, he was good, like during the pregnancy, and then everything changed. So I think it has a lot to do with
No, everything ain't changed, Your Honor. What changed is her not being home when I come home at night with her and my son being around Mr. Wilson, her friend. That's what it comes from.
Miss Brooks reveals that her last 9-year relationship was actually with a woman. Judge Lauren remarks that at least she hasn't caused this paternity issue. She says Mr. Page gets jealous when she talks to her or Mr. Wilson. He says he gets jealous because Mr. Wilson posts very intimate pictures with Miss Brooks on social media.
This is a picture of Mr. Wilson.
Yes, that's me and Mr. Wilson.
Right, and that's the next one that I got right here, Your Honor.
These are all photos of you. That's the baby in there?
Yes.
But that's just a picture of me and the baby, though.
But they
it's
always
on his,
with each other.
It's one of his profile pictures.
Yes, I'm the best thing that's...
I mean, look at that.
Miss Brooks says Mr. Page only does the bare minimum and isn't there for her or the baby at all. Mr. Page says he covers all the expenses and helps out whenever something goes wrong. In the meanwhile, Mr. Wilson is even posting pictures of the baby on his social media. Now, that's odd behavior for someone who isn't the father.
She doesn't help me out. She calls me and tells me what to do, and I have to find a way to do it.
What am I helping you out for? I'm not your father.
Right, you're the baby mother, so it should be 50-50. I should help and you should help.
What?
You don't help me do anything.
What if I just come out of a high-risk pregnancy and the baby's only 8 months old? What did you expect me to do?
That's when she reveals Mr. Page didn't even stay in the hospital with her when she gave birth to their son. He said he had to go back to work because he couldn't get more time off. However, Mr. Wilson soon made an appearance at the hospital. What Miss Brooks reveals next tells us why Mr. Page has paternity doubts.
When I come to the place, I got my son ready to walk out the door. There's some lady like, oh, that's not your son. I seen some other guy holding him. When Mr. Wilson walks around my son, he does not let it be known that he's not the father. He does not let it be known that he's the godfather.
But how is that my fault?
He's his father because you're right with him. What do you
How is that my fault? No, and you know how I feel about that.
And
I'm talking to you.
Miss Brooks says she recently found out Mr. Wilson has been going out telling people that he and Miss Brooks are sleeping together. She heard of this rumor from someone in her neighborhood and said she fought with Mr. Wilson about it, which resulted in them not talking. So, will the DNA test results solve this dilemma?
Mr. Page, you are the father.
Told you. It don't make no sense that I had to go through all of this just to prove that.
Mr. Page, you finally know the truth. Does it feel good?
Yeah, it do feel good.
I can see the emotion in your eyes.
Thank you.
You're happy
Yes,
to know for certain.
for sure.
Natalie has brought Larry to court because she aims to share a child with him. However, she kept her daughter a secret from Larry for 5 months until after the child was born. Larry refuses to accept the child as his because he has too many doubts pertaining to the child's paternity.
You've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove to the defendant, Mr. Parker, that he is the father of your 23-month-old daughter, Tanila.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Parker, you put your wedding on hold because you're positive you are not the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
She didn't tell you about Tanila until she was 5 months old. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Larry broke off the engagement with Natalie because of this pregnancy and the secrecy surrounding it. He now says he is really attached to the child and loves Natalie as well, but there's another secret that she's been keeping that is eating him up. So, what other dark secret is Larry's baby mama hiding?
So has there been a lot of lies, Ms. Robinson?
Yes, Your Honor, it have been a lot of lies. He didn't know around the time that I have pregnant that I was seeing someone else. That's where the possibility come from that Tanila might not be his.
And you say he didn't know this?
And no, ma'am.
I do know. Yes, I do. You cheated on me.
Apparently, all this time, Natalie had also been cheating on Larry. He randomly found out about the cheating when he went to the park one day and saw her getting affectionate with another man. She says she told him about the paternity issue when their daughter was 5 months old, but he waited too long to get a paternity test.
When she was
Why
5
did you
months
cheat?
and I came to you and I told you that she might be yours, you could have got the DNA test then, but you want to wait to get a DNA test.
I mean,
though,
I
right?
feel like, where were you at
What's
during
with
those
the
other
wedding?
5
You
months?
ain't tell me that you postponed our wedding.
I mean, you should know that, though.
Hold on, let me get caught up. Mr. Parker, you already suspected she was cheating.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, how did he find out about the cheating? He says it was all going great at first. They were living together, being affectionate, they were sleeping together, and having fun. Gradually, Natalie started getting colder and more distant. He didn't suspect much, though, until he saw her that day in the park.
I was walking in the park one day, and I saw her holding hands and hugged up with some other guy. And at first, I saw that I suspect that she might have been pregnant, so I did a little hand gesture. I was like, "Hey, are you pregnant?" So she said no. So I left her alone. I went on my separate ways. Met somebody else. I did my own thing. I wasn't really too much worried about her.
They broke up after he found out about the cheating and began seeing other people. Then, out of the blue, Natalie reappeared and told him he was the father of her child. By this point, the baby was 5 months old. Larry was instantly smitten with the child, but the doubts remained. Can the DNA test clear them up?
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Parker, you are not Tanila's father.
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
Like a
sorry.
whole year wasted, man.
Oh my God.
Sorry. I want to be her dad. I want to be.
You can still be
I
her
wanted to
father.
be so
You
bad.
can still be her father.
Miss Goddard brings Mr. Harrison to court because she says he got her pregnant and then abandoned her when she gave birth. She's had to manage everything by herself, which led her to dropping out of college. Mr. Harrison says he isn't the father. But what dark secret is he hiding?
You're suing for a paternity test and for $900 for college expenses you lost when you were forced to drop out.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Harrison, you claim you've tried to get a DNA test for months because you know you are not Nyla's father, and today's results will clear your name.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Harrison soon reveals the dark secret himself. This was no accidental pregnancy. He got Miss Goddard pregnant on purpose. He says they were in love and he wanted a family with her, which is why he did what he did. However, as soon as she gave birth, his friends told him she'd been cheating on him all along.
So I wanted to know if this baby is mine or not.
So you started hearing rumors?
Yes, so I wanted to know if this baby is mine or not.
Your Honor.
Yes, Miss Goddard.
I admitted to Mr. Harrison that I had intercourse with another man as we were together, and he still proceeded through my pregnancy and the birth knowing that.
Mr. Harrison says multiple people told him about her cheating after the birth of their daughter. He said she was involved with multiple men, but she says it was just one guy. Judge Lauren points out that the paternity doubt is fair because the child could very well be the other guy's as well.
I think you all understanding that you can purposefully try to get somebody pregnant, but if you're sleeping with somebody else too, it could be the other person's. You understand that, right?
Miss Goddard says this pregnancy cost her the opportunity to go to college and pursue a higher education. She has already bought her supplies and paid for her orientation fees, which she now wants Mr. Harrison to repay. In fact, she presents Judge Lauren with an itemized list of expenses, while Miss Goddard's mother describes a harrowing story.
This is the proof that you were actually admitted into school, but they deferred your admission because you weren't able to go. You're asking for those expenses because Mr. Harrison got you pregnant on purpose.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mom, this is really difficult for you
It's
because
very difficult.
your daughter was on her way to college.
Absolutely.
So, what was the story? Well, turns out Miss Goddard has a very difficult childhood and was a troubled teen who ran into a lot of problems. She says her daughter turned her life around, worked hard on her goals, and even got into Harvard. She says this pregnancy made her lose her chance to get out of this vicious cycle.
He said, why you gotta go to college for? You could go to college right here. Just go to a regular public school or whatever and just get it done like that. He didn't want me to go on campus, Your Honor. He didn't want me to do better for myself.
Your Honor, I don't remember saying any of that. All I know is, Your Honor, I know a lot of females that get pregnant and go to college. My cousin,
Okay.
she went to college
Let me just
and
say
stayed
this.
on campus while she was pregnant.
Mr. Harrison says she could have attended college while she was pregnant, and he knows people who have done that. Meanwhile, Judge Lauren has a different opinion. She says if she wanted to go to college so bad, she shouldn't have engaged in activities that could potentially lead to unplanned pregnancies.
If you were serious about getting your education, conduct yourself in a certain type of way, and that includes protecting yourself.
Yes, Your Honor.
He could not take away any opportunity you had unless you failed to protect yourself. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Goddard's mother says Mr. Harrison is a compulsive liar and has never asked for a DNA test to be conducted even once. She says she has had to be there for her daughter throughout this pregnancy because the baby's father refuses to step up to the responsibility. So, who do you think the father is?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Harrison, you are her father.
And I will be taking care of her, as a real man should.
So, despite the arguing that has transpired today, the three of you have something in common, and that's a Nyla.
Alan has brought Stephanie to court because of a dark secret that's been pulling their relationship apart at the seams. They have an older son they share together, and now a young baby as well. He says he cannot get over the secret and broke off their engagement because of it. So, what is this dark secret Stephanie's been keeping?
So, Ms. Cavell, how do you feel about being dragged into court today?
I'm a little upset. I want to prove that he's the father. I want to show him that I have been telling the truth. I know I made a mistake, but I've been paying for it every single day since I've told him.
So, Mr. Pierce,
Yes,
you believe this was truly necessary because you have doubt, am I correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Turns out Stephanie cheated on Alan during the window of conception of their second child. She says everything had been going so well for them, but she made a fatal mistake. Now, Alan is doubting the paternity of their child and needs the truth. She says she is upset about this court appearance, but wants to pay for her mistakes.
I just, it's happened to me in the past before, and I just have this doubt, and it's killing our family, it's killing the relationship I do have with the kids, and it hurts. It truly hurts.
I can see that it really does. And you have an older child together, and this is destroying your family.
Correct, Your Honor.
Alan says he's been burned before because he got a girl pregnant when he was a teenager. He stepped up to take responsibility for the child, but the girl admitted to cheating, and then the child turned out to be someone else's. Now, Alan is scared that history's about to repeat itself. This child doesn't even look like him.
I understand that my son looks nothing like him, but he looks identical to me when I was a baby.
You don't see no color in that baby.
And you now feel this can
I don't want
destroy
that
your
to
family. You've called off your engagement.
Correct. When I found out, I just had to call it off. I mean, there's no sense in really trying to go for a marriage because it's not true.
Alan says he called off the engagement because he couldn't stomach the cheating. He found out about it because he asked her if there was anything she'd like to tell him. Her excuse is that they were going through a lot at the time emotionally, which was why she did it. But why were they going through emotionally difficult times?
We got engaged. I proposed to her. She was pregnant with Julian at the time. I don't know what came over me, but I was just like, we're doing really good right now. We're whatever. If there's anything, you got to tell me. She told me, that she had cheated on me back. I lost it. I started crying. I was very upset. And I asked her, I was like, so was it around the same time? Is it possibly his?
Stephanie says she cheated on Alan during the window of conception after she lost their second baby, and she felt as if he wasn't sympathetic enough. On the other hand, her coworker was there this entire time and supported her emotionally. She says it was just a one-time thing, but Alan just can't believe her.
How do we know that's the only time, though? Can anybody just say any couple words and make you feel good?
Go ahead and take the lie detector test. It was only one-time thing.
I want a lie detector test. I mean, even after the baby, if he does prove to be mine, how do I know that it's not happened any other time? I mean, you're the queen of being late. You always...
Okay.
He says she works nearby, but is always late coming home, which makes him even more suspicious. In fact, he said it's impossible for him to move forward with the relationship or the engagement because he doesn't trust her anymore. So, he makes a very unique demand of the court. What is this demand? Well, we're about to find out.
I always thought that, she was the good girl. She was never going to do this to me, knowing what happened. And once that happened, what else can I really believe? That was the worst thing that could happen to
therefore,
me.
in addition to the DNA test you request today, you're also requesting a lie detector test.
Correct, Your Honor.
Turns out, Alan has asked the court to administer a lie detector test to Stephanie. Now, that's something we don't see very often. He says it kills him to look at the baby and not be sure if he's the father or not because they look nothing alike. So, what do you think the DNA test results will reveal?
Mr. Pierce, you are Julian's father.
Yes!
Great news, right?
Thank you, Your Honor.
I really am sorry for putting you through all this.
I'm sorry, too, and hopefully we can move on from here and build back to what we had and what we can have.